I'm worried about Iran. They are building a nuclear weapon, then they will blow up Israel and we'll have even more terrorist attacks on our country. We must protect ourselves, and the only way to do that is to attack Iran before they attack us. Why do you think Iran would have a nuclear weapon? Because they are a violent country and they have a crazy president. Do you know when was the last time Iran attacked another country? It was 300 years ago. Well, they have a crazy president who would do it. Do what? Ahmadinejad. What would they do? They would attack us with a nuclear weapon. Do you know that the National Intelligence Estimate has concluded that there is no evidence that Iran is working on a nuclear weapon? It is the consensus of 16 different U.S. intelligence agencies including the CIA, the DIA, Army Intelligence, Navy Intelligence, Air Force Intelligence, the Department of Energy as well as the Department of Homeland Security. I don't care. They have nuclear ambitions. What, exactly, do you mean by ambitions? That is what they say on the news. It means they want to build a bomb to attack us. That is what the media and politicians say, because they know that there is no evidence that Iran has a nuclear weapons program, but they want us all to be scared and to believe that the Iranian government would be crazy enough to use a nuclear weapon against us. That way our government will have the support of the American people if we decide to take military action against Iran, just like when we invaded Iraq. We would be able to say that we are protecting ourselves in self-defense. Saddam was a bad man. But Iraq did not have any nuclear weapons either. Can you tell me which is the only country to have ever used a nuclear weapon against another country? I will give you a hint. It begins with a U and ends with an S. But we signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Iran also signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. It was one of the first countries to sign, but Iran has threatened to wipe Israel off the map. That is not an exact translation, but, yes, that was what the Iranian president said. However, Ahmadinejad is just the president, and not the supreme leader. Even if he wanted to attack Israel, he would not have the authority to order it. Only the supreme leader can declare a war or mobilize troops. However, the supreme leader has already spoken out against having nuclear weapons. Speaking of military action, what do you suppose it means when the U.S. says that nothing is off the table? Do you think that could possibly mean nuclear attack? Of course, it means nothing is off the table. Well then, that means the United States has threatened the use of nuclear weapons against Iran, which also happens to be a violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty we signed. George Bush, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, John McCain and other American politicians have all said nothing is off the table when referring to Iran. John McCain said to bomb Iran. He sang a song and it was funny. Bomb Iran. Do you know that the United States has already drafted a military plan of attack against Iran? Iran has also been called part of the evil axis by President Bush. So do you think Iran might actually have a reason to fear an attack from the United States? The United States has invaded Afghanistan and Iraq, which both have borders with Iran. The United States also has troops and military bases in Pakistan and Saudi Arabia as well as a very large naval presence in the Persian Gulf. The United States is allies with Israel, which has nuclear weapons, and which has already discussed and advocated an attack on Iran. And they will not sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty either. So do you think maybe Iran might possibly have a reason to want to protect itself? We can't let Iran have a nuclear bomb. They will attack us again, just like 9/11. Then if that is really what you want, why in God's name should we be doing everything humanly possible to provoke and threaten Iran, and give them a reason to make a nuclear weapon to defend themselves? Do you see even the slightest sense of logic in that type of belligerent U.S. foreign policy if we don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Don't you think, if you really didn't want a country to have a nuclear weapon, then you would not threaten to attack it, or invade its neighbors, or have military troops surrounding it from all sides? Would the United States feel threatened if Iran invaded Canada and Mexico and conducted naval military exercises in the Caribbean? I don't want another 9/11. Do you even know where the 9/11 hijackers were from? I don't care. They were from Saudi Arabia and Egypt, not Iran. Yet both Saudi Arabia and Egypt happen to be US allies. We give them both billions of dollars in aid every year. I don't like any of them. They attacked us. Who are they? Arabs. Iranians are not Arabs. Well, they attacked. I mean they were responsible for. I mean anyway they hate us. Do you blame them for hating us? They are not democratic. Iran used to have a democratic government. Then they were not smart enough to keep it. No, actually, they had a popular democratic leader, but the United States CIA overthrew the Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, in a coup in 1953. What? A coup? What is a coup? A coup. In other words, we overthrew their government. That does not make sense. The United States supports democracy, like in Afghanistan. Hamid Karzai is the president of Afghanistan, and was a former ally of the US and former CIA contact during the 1980s, when they were fighting the Soviet Union. So we supported him as president, because Karzai did what the US and Britain wanted him to do. That is what I mean. He is democratic. So was Mohammad Mossadegh. Ahmadinejad. No. Mossadegh was the democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran in 1953, before he was removed from power by the United States, because he did not want to do what we wanted him to do. He was a communist. He wanted Iran to keep the profits from their own oil, to help their own country, so British Petroleum would not take it all. They spilled oil in the Persian Gulf. No, actually, BP spilled oil in the Gulf of Mexico. But it is the same company. They used to be called the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company in the 1950s, because Britain got all of its oil from Iran. Anyway, they support terrorism, too. The Iranians. The Iranian government does support Hezbollah and Hamas. I told you so. But the United States government gives financial support to the MEK, PJAK and Jundullah, which are all terrorist groups that operate within Iran, and are responsible for attacking, kidnapping, and assassinations in their country. So what is the difference? Terrorism is terrorism. It is just as bad, no matter who does it or supports it. In 1988, a United States Navy ship shot and blew up an Iranian passenger jet in the Persian Gulf, killing 274 innocent civilians. Isn't that a terrorist act? It was an accident. Can you think of any other time in the history of aviation that a passenger jet has been shot down by mistake? So then, I suppose the one time it does happen, it just coincidentally happens to be by one country against its adversary right at a time of heightened tension? Can you imagine how the US would react if the Iranian military shot down an US passenger jet and killed 274 people, mostly American? It was not on purpose. How come I never heard of this before? The US news media does not like to talk about it, because they don't want Americans to think our government has engaged in acts of terrorism. They want us to believe it is only the behavior of countries like Iran. Everything I'm saying is fully documented. You can check it yourself with Google or Wikipedia. Ahmadinejad. No, Wikipedia. If you are really opposed to terrorism, I don't see the difference. If one country supports it or another, isn't it all equally as bad? Ahmadinejad is bad. What? We should attack Iran. Look, just because the Iranian government is bad in many ways, does not mean we should simply attack the country. I don't think you fully realize what would happen if we really did attack Iran. There are 1.2 billion Muslims in the world. What do you think would be their reaction if we attacked an Islamic country after what we have already done in Iraq and Afghanistan? I don't care what they would think. It doesn't matter. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think the level of anger would be against the US if we attacked another Islamic country? It doesn't matter. Is it more likely to go up or to go down? If you are trying to protect America, then why would you want to increase the anger in this world against us? Iran is 3 times the size of Iraq with 3 times the population and a very powerful military, unlike Iraq, and yet we still don't have a stable situation in Iraq after 7 years and $2 trillion. But Saddam was a bad man, so it was worth it. Fortunately for us, many of the Iranian people like Americans and do not like their government. That is a good thing, so it will be an easy job for us. Then what do you think would happen if we attacked Iran? They would greet us with flowers. Flowers. Did we greet Al-Qaeda with flowers when they attacked the Twin Towers in New York City? Hell no. Or instead, did most Americans put aside our complaints and rally behind our government in a show of nationalism? I put a flag on my car. I don't understand what you are saying. Okay, don't you think the Iranian people would also put Iranian flags on their cars if the US attacked them? Yes. Then why would anyone in America want to push the Iranian people away from liking the US to supporting the very government we despise so much? Of course no one would want to do that. Then please give me any sensible reason why the United States should attack, or even threaten to attack Iran. I don't need a sensible reason. Why? Because I'm a racist bigot hater who supports violence against people I hate. Maybe Iran should attack the United States after all.